22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it.
Yeah.
And are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Black Westchester Presents, the People Before Politics radio show. We are on every Sunday, 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. I am your host, A.J. Woodson. Damien K. Jones is not here. We have the lovely Lorraine Lopez. I think Dr. Bob's coming in the building soon, and we have a guest or two coming in. But a couple of things to address before we get into all that. Let me see. So, I did a couple of editorials this week. One was, why has Westchester County District Attorney Scarpino refused to release the bad cop list? Several of the district attorneys in New York City, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, they all released their bad cop list, a list of cops that they can't count on for as witnesses, and there's a lot of complaints and stuff. But the Westchester District Attorney has refused to release this. He has delayed releasing this, and one of the reasons people are asking is it because one of his investigators is probably on that list. We are told is on that list. One of his investigators in his office. So,
what?
Yeah. That's in the story. You obviously didn't see the story.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. I'm pulling up the story.
I'm sorry. I did see the story, but somehow I skipped that.
Could it be his investigator, Andrew Ludlum, Ludlum, is allegedly one of the names on the list?
Oh, snap.
And I start off, it's no secret in police reform, in the police reform community, that district attorneys always have a bad cops list. But only recently, in the new age of criminal justice accountability, have district attorneys across the nation begin to make their list of cops that can't be trusted public. Here in New York, district attorneys are following suit to inform the public on police officers who took an oath to protect and serve the community, but unfortunately can't be trusted on arresting reports, evidence gathering, testimony, past misconduct, allegations, and lawsuits. Information like that is usually supplied to prosecutors and sometimes defense attorneys. District Attorney Eric Gonzalez left a comment, and then on October 2019, Bronx District Attorney released their list of their bad cop list, and in November, the Queens and Brooklyn District Attorneys released their bad cop list, which included several ex-Staten Island cops. We've had the Philadelphia office release it, and several others, but here in Westchester, our district attorney, who was running for re-election, did not release this list that he promised, one of the promises that he said he was going to do, and has failed to prosecute any cases dealing with police misconduct throughout Westchester. I'm going to put that first link up. There's a couple other things I want to address, then I'm going to open the floor up. Okay, so earlier today, my partner in crime, Damon K. Jones, went live about a Peekskill police officer, and let me pull that story up real quick so we have it. Bear with me for 2 seconds. I'm doing a lot of this on the fly. Okay, so Damon Jones addressed the Peekskill police officer arrested for alleged sex abuse, and and the accuser says she has a secret recording that proved it. Now, News 12 had the link, the video up of her earlier that seems like they have taken down the video, but Damon. I'm waiting for Damon. Hopefully he's going to send me the video and I can show you. But what I do want to show is a little piece of Damon addressing this earlier. Let's see. Here we go. And I think in the video, here we go. So let me push that up.
To hear this. Here we go.
33-year-old taken into custody and arraigned on charges of sexual abuse, stalking, and burglary. News 12 Samantha Crawford spoke exclusively to the woman who says,
we're going to just start that which you missed. Hold on. Oh, hold on.
Burglary. News 12 Samantha Crawford spoke exclusively to the woman who says,
we're going to just start that which you missed. Hold on. Okay. Oh. Hold on.
Burglary. News 12 Samantha Crawford spoke exclusively to...
I had the volume on here up and not the volume on here. Oh. So bear with me. I think we got it now.
You got a lot of pages open.
Yeah, I understand that. Hold on. Bear with me. It's worth watching. We're going to pull it up right now. This is what happens when I have like 5 screens that I'm controlling. And this is one of them. Okay. So now.
Karen, I'm going to play this report by News 12. And, this is really disgusting, but I want everybody to hear this. I really want everybody to hear this. Here we go.
33-year-old taken into custody and arraigned on charges of sexual abuse, stalking, and burglary. News 12 Samantha Crawford spoke exclusively to the woman who says she was the victim of Officer Michael Agovino's repeated abuse.
You got some nice curves.
Come on.
Play with it. Oh, look at him. No. Here, you don't even got to do anything.
No.
My God.
Who is he?
A police officer.
For what department?
The Peekskill Police Department.
A Peekskill woman who we're calling Jane Doe for her protection came exclusively to News 12 to recount the painful moments when she says Peekskill police officer Michael Agovino sexually assaulted her in her home. The whole incident,
Every time I see you, I'm surprised how big your ass is.
captured on audio tape.
He came here and I got tired of him coming. So I recorded him. He wanted to touch me.
You got some nice curves. I like it. Even these things. Oh, look at him. I'm saying.
Jane claims he assaulted her not once,
I already took my clothes off for you.
But I want to see it again.
No.
but twice.
No, don't pull down my pants. White girls are bigger than me. No.
Jane says the officer started demanding sexual favors.
After all I've done for you, I saved you getting arrested and all that. You can't even show me.
He said you could either take off your clothes or suck my. And that's when I took off my clothes and he started circling around me.
She says he stopped by her home unannounced 4 times since last summer.
When he was here, was he in uniform? Was he off duty? Was he on duty? Do you know?
He was on duty.
So was he in uniform?
Yes.
Did he arrive in a police car each time? Do you know?
Yes.
What are your thoughts that a police...
Okay, we're for some reason that cut off, but I guess you get the.
Well,
okay, Damien's gonna talk some more.
let me explain something to you. That is disgusting. That is totally disgusting. And here's the sad thing. Here's the sad thing. We will not see any police officers or law enforcement officers condemn this man publicly. That's what we won't see. We won't see that. We don't see them when they make racist statements against our black female officers. We don't see law enforcement condemn white officers for doing that. And we won't see law enforcement officers condemn this white officer for sexually abusing this woman. If you heard it, she was in terror.
Yeah.
Another white officer taking advantage of a black woman. Maybe she had a couple of arrests. Maybe she had a history, a criminal history, and then he took advantage of that to come into her house and sexually abuse her. And you won't hear one law enforcement organization in Westchester County condemn this officer for doing this. You won't hear the Chiefs Association condemn this officer for doing this to this woman, this black woman. How many black elected officials in Westchester will we hear condemn this officer for doing this while they're in Albany having a great time? When they come back Monday, how many black elected officials in Westchester County will publicly condemn this officer for doing this? See, we can't say it's a war on cops when cops are not brave enough and have the testicular fortitude to condemn their own when they do wrong. Not only is he wrong, he needs to go to jail and he needs to get some help. So as a law enforcement professional for 30 years, I am challenging any law enforcement organization to condemn this officer. If you want the people to respect you, if you that the respect that you claim you deserve in the street, then you can need to condemn this officer for doing what he did to this female.
So we're gonna
you need to condemn this officer.
You can see the whole thing on Facebook, but I wanted to show just a portion of that. Hold on, let me close that out. So I did reach out to Peekskill Mayor Andre Rainey. He's out of town, but he did release a statement, and he says, hold on. After reading the headlines, articles, and links from the officer in Peekskill, it is an embarrassment to our police department and the entire city as a whole. This behavior makes me sick and is intolerable. It is completely inappropriate and clearly unprofessional. There is no situation where this type of behavior is acceptable. We read and hear stories of police officers all over the world, and we pray it never comes this close to our city or our community. This is a terrifying situation, beyond upsetting, especially when all the good news coming out of the city lately. In Peekskill, we expect our employees and law enforcement especially to maintain their professionalism and proper training at all times. We expect them to protect and respect, not take advantage of and intimidate. We will organize a community meeting as soon as I get back to New York and allow our chief of police to answer questions. Once this investigation is concluded, as unfortunate as this is, I am very optimistic that this isn't a reflection of our police department. However, we will not tolerate this behavior and will continue moving forward and deal with the situation accordingly. If these allegations are true, this is a severe blow that will be resolved, justice will be given, and we will overcome. That is from Peekskill Mayor Andre Rainey, who is listening to the show. He's out of town right now. I just want to real quick welcome those listening to the show: Lisa Mitchell, Cheryl Blue Brownlee Fox, Omi Medina, D Wilson, Carlton Beckford Dozier. What's going on, sir? Sonia Murray, Damon K. Jones is tuned in. Shanice Coleman, Hector Santiago, Donna Nolan, and everyone else. And without further ado, as we continue this conversation, let me introduce my lovely co-host, Lorraine Lopez, is in the building.
Hey. How are you, AJ?
I'm good. There's just so much going on. So this is on the heels of the article we wrote about the Westchester DA not turning over the bad cops list.
Is there a list?
There is a list. In like in my article, most district attorneys have a list, and I'll read it to you again. Most district attorneys have a list of police officers who took the oath to protect and serve the community, but unfortunately, they cannot be trusted on arresting reports, evidence gathering, testimony, past misconduct, allegations, lawsuits. Information like this is usually supplied to prosecutors and sometimes defense attorneys. Lately, it has been distributed to the public, like in the Bronx,
yes,
Brooklyn, and
Staten
Queens, and Queens. And we have.
Has anyone tried to foil it?
Well, he has not released it. We know for sure.
Well,
and again, the question is he not releasing it because one of his investigators is allegedly on the list? And I said his name earlier. Real quick. Wait, let me turn the volume down. Hold on, Damon. I got one more thing still on, so we can get Damon in. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Damon. Hold on. Why is it froze like that? Start. Okay, there we go. Change screens. I have too many things going on over here.
Is this cop on leave? Is he paid leave?
I don't know too much more. And Damon K. Jones is in the building.
Hey, Damon.
Hey. What's up, Lorraine? What's happening? I believe he's on paid leave because they didn't specify that he was on without pay. Sometimes they allow the officer to be suspended with pay while they're building the case against him to terminate him. We used to always say at my job, if you're suspended without pay, you are coming back to work. But if you're suspended with pay, they're still building the case against you to terminate you. So Usually that's why some people get upset that they suspend officers with pay. That's part of the collective bargaining. But anything in a police officer's in a union's contract with the municipality can be changed. You know, it's all agreed. It just got to be agreed upon by the police union, the members of the police union, and the municipality. So when it comes to police accountability, a lot of elected officials have failed to address the collective bargaining agreement in putting rules and regulations that that hold officers accountable when they violate ethics and departmental policies and training. So I think this is another incident where the people of Peekskill, you know, thank you. I want to say right off the bat, thank you, Mayor Rainey, for responding in a timely manner and seeing the importance of this matter. But I think every municipality, you know, if they really believe in accountability and transparency, they will look into changing their collective bargaining agreement with the police unions and how they deal with police crimes. This is another example of police criminality. What this man has alleged to do is a crime. It's definitely a crime. He got arrested, so we know he got arrested. But how do we continue down the road in these police departments? So and we have to see it, and then more police officers should condemn this officer. He should be condemned. He should be condemned by the good cops, by the good law enforcement officers. You know, I have no problem condemning him because that could have been my cousin. It might be my cousin. I got a lot of family in Peekskill. I don't know who this person is. You know, black officers, we have 4 degrees separation from these victims. We know the victim. We know somebody that knows the victim.
Yeah.
Or the victim's a family member.
Yep.
Or sometimes we the damn victim. So I think, you know, it should be more outrage. You just had the incident where this officer, white officer in correction, called a black female officer a monkey. You know, and the disrespect to black lives in law enforcement needs to be addressed. So they can't, you know, I believe, you know, that every life is sacred, and I feel when something bad happens to any law enforcement officer doing their job. But I also think, you know, accountability is a two-way street. So we should be just as outraged at this incident and speak out publicly, just like law enforcement wants the community to be outraged if something
happens with them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So I think this is a lesson learned, or this is a learnable lesson. You know, moving forward. But let's see what the DA is going to do. You know.
Again, for the record, so we have invited the district attorney to appear on the show. We've had his opponent, Mimi Roca, appear, who has challenged him to a debate. So we have actually invited him to come for a one-on-one interview, and then if he wanted to accept the debate. We have not yet heard back from the district attorney's office, but I just want to let you know, in all fairness, we did reach out to him even before this, before the story we did, and we still have heard nothing. Only thing we've heard actually from the DA was the day after Mimi Roca was on. There was a statement from his office
to you,
to
Black Westchester, or
it was a statement opposing something Mimi said on the show, and that's the only email. That's the only communication. I then responded back, giving him 3 dates in March, so that he could pick any one of those 3 dates. And
he's not gonna come.
We have not heard anything. We are still reaching out to him, and I just wanted to be fair. Like you hear us, we're putting his feet to the fire, and people are like, oh, we don't tell his side. He's not coming on the show so far. We are reaching out to him.
Hold on. They sent you a statement on what, AJ?
The day after Mimi Roker was on the show, I sent it to you. He sent a statement the next day, saying something she said wasn't true or something. Like something about what she said on the show. It was a statement addressing what she said.
So.
And then I took that as a reply and replied and gave him, invited him on the show and gave him 3 dates.
And you're going to reply to that?
I have not heard from his office, his campaign, or anything since then.
Well, they know you exist.
Oh, no. They know, not only do they know Black Westerns exist, not only do they know this radio show, Damon has been in their office plenty of times. They know Damon exists. So, and maybe that's one of the reasons he don't want to come on, because he don't want to deal with Damon.
He's going to hear the hard questions.
No, he doesn't want to come on. He doesn't want to deal with Damon. Because Damon is going to be, Damon has the credentials to question him about certain things, that some stuff he might not want to answer or cannot answer.
Mm-hmm. Listen, the DA Scarpino, he has a lot of questions. He has a lot of answers, because he has an answer to a lot. And to be honest, it's almost bad leadership. And the reason why I say that is the people that's underneath him make these sorry ass decisions that has put his office in jeopardy, and that's the problem. I mean, we still have to deal with the good old boy network. We still have to deal with these people that don't care about Black and brown people and Black and brown communities. And the justice system is a sham, right? Why do they need so much money now for the discovery rule, the new discovery law? Why do they need so much money to now put evidence together, right? Shouldn't you, when you go to the judge and you plea bargain or you give a plea deal to the defendant, shouldn't you already have the evidence?
That's what you would assume. That's what you should have.
So why are we increasing budgets to the district attorney's office to find evidence?
That's because while people are sitting in jail because they can't afford bail, they're keeping them in jail while they try to build a case on them. And then, like you said, after they've been in jail for like 10 months or so, then, offer them, if they plead guilty, time served so they can get the W when the person wants to get out of jail and says yes. And then they have a W on their record.
Yeah, what's up, Dr. Bob? How do I get a full screen again, man?
Yeah. We full screen you when you was talking, so everybody can pay attention and fully see you. But kaboom, guess who stepped up in the room? Dr. Bob is in the building.
Yes. My voice was a little hoarse, but it's much improved. So I decided to come through, D. Join everyone on set.
Nice.
Listen, man, I appreciate you, Dr. Bob. I appreciate you coming. I feel like a hermit up in these mountains, man. But
well, we miss you, brother. But we understand, and thanks to
I miss y'all too, man. But guess what, man? I don't. Sometimes I don't miss being down there, man. It's too much,
man.
It's too much ignorance going on, man. I don't have time for that, man. Yo, let me tell y'all. Last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a spot up here called Jay-Z's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had been there before, just during the week, but they had Capone, the comedian, there. Let me tell you, man, that was the first time I saw so many black people up here, man, in one spot.
Felt like you was in Harlem or something, huh?
It was crazy because it wasn't nothing, like you would think. You up here, you what they call upstate New York,
right?
And they have people, but everybody that was in there, was from downstate.
Mm-hmm.
They just live up. They just bought homes up there, and it was standing room only, and people were stuck outside. I mean, look, the usual promoter stuff. They oversold tickets and all the commotion, but it was a good night. And, it's like, if you got a spot like that up here, it's a gold mine, bro. Mm-hmm. It's just going to get better and better because Amazon is building a warehouse up here, and they're going to employ folks, man. So that's gonna boost the economy and keep my taxes down. So I'm excited for Amazon coming, man. I'm really excited for Amazon coming. They're giving a big thing up. I think the 26th or 27th up here, and they're talking about the whole 17 corridor with the construction, with the Legoland, and then you got the water park resort, and they're really reaching out to local businesses and people. They're governing the right way, and you can't get mad at them because they're bringing jobs and businesses.
Well, you said reaching out to the local businesses. We don't get that down here. That was already different.
Exactly. I mean, just the fact that, Amazon and they did that, and they did this on the hush. Like nobody heard that Amazon was coming back to New York.
Well, I heard that they were opening something in the city, the actual city, not Queens.
I thought it was Queens.
No, they blew the Queens deal, and then they were supposed to be doing something in the city, somewhere near like where the piers are and stuff, like somewhere in that area somewhere. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know about the one upstate. Then I knew about the one in Virginia down where my sister lived. There's one right next to her. That was where the other one was supposed to be. But now I didn't know the one upstate. But you know what? We want to get back on some of this other topics, but we have a guest in the studio, and I want to bring her in. Nesta Felix from New Flex. Is she in the green room? Yes. Bring her in the building.
Hi.
Give her a Black Westchester round of applause. There we go. Yes. Pull your mic to you. How are you?
I'm well.
Always happy to see you in the building. I know you have an event coming up, your winter ball, that I was honored at last year, and you have it again this year, and I wanted you to come in and talk about it and promote it a little bit.
So it's our second annual. I was quite anxious about doing it again because of the effort it takes.
Right. You said that last year.
Yeah. It was great in light of all that we're doing. But the board, Shanice and everyone else consoled me and told me they would be there to support, and the community said they would. So we're at it again. The event is a phenomenal one. Just pretty much does what your typical event does to support your programs. So it's our winter ball. It's purple style. We're inviting all our community leaders and our friends and families and supporters of the organization to come out and be there and dance and get your eat on and just to help raise funds for our program. So it's the 27th of February at the Eastwood Manor in the Bronx, and from 7 to 12 a.m. And it should be a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that everyone will come out and support. Ads should be taken out, the usual methods of raising funding there. We have a gala journal that we're encouraging others to different companies, local vendors to support. Filed children, those of you who know New Flex know we've been in the community over 12, 13 years now, doing a lot for our children, and it's a labor of love with our community. We definitely need the support so that we could continue to remain in the community of Mount Vernon and beyond.
Now, who are some of the honorees this year?
This year we're honoring Dr. Kenneth Hamilton. He's our superintendent of schools. He's an amazing force with education. He's done a lot for Mount Vernon this year. We've had some close relationships with the school district and allowing us to forego our mission. We're also honoring our Melissa Thomas this year. She's been quite involved in doing a lot of good work in the community, so she's one of our honorees. Shanice Coleman, she's actually receiving our Survivor Award this year in honor of one of our board members who recently passed away due to the battle against cancer, Mary Figueroa. So we wanted to honor Shanice. She was a friend of hers also. We're honoring George Brown. He's actually retiring this year as city clerk, who served Mount Vernon many years now.
Wow.
And he's retiring this year, so we want to make sure he goes out in lights and gets love and support from all his.
Yeah, he's retiring the day after Friday. The
Yes.
day after, yes.
Yep. So it's a really great time. And Ruth Hasselthomas and also. So a great array of people, and we're going to have some of our children performing this year. Iona's singers are performing, and an array of great things that should be able to make the night pleasant.
Well, I just want to say, like all the organizations like yours, we have to support. I'm always telling people how they got to support Black Westchester and support people before politics, because that's how it keeps going. But we have to also support our organizations, especially that deal with the youth, that do good work for the youth. We always complaining there's not enough things to do for the youth. There's not enough activities and programs. And when we find people that are putting that are really dedicated to do that, we need to support them. So everybody who can hear my voice needs to go, and even if you can't go, make a donation. Now, like say I can't go, somebody's listening, I can't go, but I want to make a donation. Can people do that, and how would they do that?
Definitely. Typical forums, we have Eventbrite where the event is posted. You could go on newflex.org and simply make a donation, say that it's for the gala. And any one of our means of pay, quick pays or other, you can email us and let us know that you're sending a donation. There are quite a few actually parents who would like to attend, and who are the event is costly, so we want to always find a way to be able to bring them. We want sponsors. If you can buy a table, buy a few seats. They are very much important to attending this event and trying to figure out how to get them there. Last year we actually raised the price a little last year because we didn't really make it. We didn't really raise anything. So this year I was like, I got to raise the price at the cost of figuring out how to get some of my important parents there. So that's always a challenge. And then, for those who've done events before you know it, you're like, all right, just come, I'll figure it out. So that's a big part of it, because these events still are more, the children and the parents are still the most important part of it. And the community leaders just really help us bring the vision forward. So we encourage everybody to be a part. Again, if you just want to buy an ad, if you just want to show up and see what the program is about. A lot of times we hear what's happening in the community, but we really don't know. And those of you who've been involved in the community, it takes work, it takes energy, and I thank God for the purpose that I remember years ago, and I thought I wouldn't do this anymore, and then I realized I was tied to the mission, and there was no way I could walk away from it, regardless of how I had to sustain it. So I always stayed away from high-end events and high-end Sadiddy events, I would always say, and I did a lot of the small pageants and things, and I like to stay under the radar, but I realized that it was important for the community to know what you're doing. Sometimes people take for granted because you're a worker, they don't really know what you're doing. And this event really allowed us to bring together so many people who actually support in their own way, but they don't realize that they all support. So they all came together, and we're actually amazed to realize that they all had a hand in New Flex. And so that was really the essence of it, and just the people who spoke about the program, it was great. So this year, I'm looking forward to that again.
Dr. Bob, you had a question?
Yes. So just a practical question, Nessa. We don't want to scare off any prospective supporters.
Yes.
By with the ticket price, but I do think it might be important for people to know as they put together a budget over the next couple of weeks. What is the cost of the ticket? Where's the venue?
Thank you for that. The cost is $125. It's $125 a person. The venue is the Eastwood Manor. And the food is really good.
Last year,
that was the talk of the year, and I actually, because I was playing, I don't think I got to taste anything.
I had the salmon last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was moving around a lot too. I barely ate.
Yeah.
I barely
I ate. I drank. I ain't even front. Like, it was my
tell us.
annual night out.
People wouldn't stop talking about the food, and so that was another big reason, because I considered some other venues, and the owner there is a friend of ours, so she really took care. Like this year, we have actually an open bar, a little bit more, where it was free wine and free beer all night, and the hard liquor is more costly. So just to put that out there. But it's $125, and then but again, the gala journals, last year Audi actually sponsored our journal, so literally like the last minute, so we were able to get it done. This year we're still reaching out to sponsors, and we just actually had Squire Lauren, she just reached out to us today and got a page that might help us pay for that journal. So that's what we're looking for, things to just get it done. And again, I'm never too disappointed if we don't absolutely raise everything, if we gather people and let them see the cause. But we do want to be able to pull away with something to keep the programs going. Some of programs are our big mission for this fundraiser. But we want everyone to come out and celebrate with us. And we want to dance more this year. So we want to try to celebrate the honorees and then get everybody out onto the dance floor.
Good thing you have an open bar because more drinks will make me dance. Now y'all just got to dim the lights down a little bit more low. Dr. Bob, he got to be on quiet with his thing.
I will say, though, beyond the fact that I was honored, it was a very good event, very well-attended event. The crowd, it was a great group of people from, it's good when you see the community come out. We get divided on these political campaigns. We get divided on political campaigns and all these other things, but all of them were there. And
yes.
We all were coming together, Ernie Davis came up and was like, "Oh, I got to take a picture with AJ." It was a time where he wasn't trying to see me. You know what I'm saying?
So we've been reaching out. And that's really cool. What you said is, in spite of everyone's, everyone has at the end of the day their business or their career or their political agenda, but there is love for the children, and so they find ways to get it done while they share their love, and that's what's really cool. And then that we're all really we're breaking bread.
Right,
and that's
right.
the coolest
Very
thing about
important.
it.
Very
at the end of the day,
important.
everyone there has a special relationship with each other. And they care, and that's what I think. I was just glowing when I see that. When I see everyone dancing and just breaking bread, so it warms my heart. And then I usually bring a lot of my interns there, so I'm always so proud to show them the community's finest. I'm like, well, this is what you can be. And so they don't realize I have the interns working all over. You see, I have some of the children who'll be there actually performing, kind of like a ballroom dance to open up.
Nice. That's what's up.
And so so we actually do a big finale every year at the pageant. We do a ballroom dance for the last 10 years. And I said, I have to put that on exhibit. And so some of the crowned queens and princesses will be there performing to open up. So that'd be nice. But I said, getting to show them, see all the leaders in your community. That's some of the greatest things about such events.
And the people who came, the great amount of people that came from every group of the area, it was a testament of your dedication and what you put into it. I mean, like a lot of times people overlook a lot of things,
right.
And a lot of times people don't come out, but that everybody I know has love for Nesta and what you
really
do
cool.
for the kids, for real. I mean, you really do a lot. I mean, you probably do a lot more than people even know.
Yeah. What are some of the programs that you have for the kids?
So we have a plethora of events. Our trifold mission is leadership, mentoring, and sports. And sports is a caveat by which we run a lot of programs because we set up in schools, and our children are required to participate in leadership programs as a result of it. So we have annual leadership retreats. We're away most of the summer in Lake George, and we're in Delaware. We're just traveling all the time.
I got a senior program?
You're always welcome to come, and I do not say that. And ask Shanice. Everyone will tell you, Andre, everyone will tell you, I'm always inviting community leaders. Brenda Crump has been going with us for almost 9 years, I think, going camping with us, and she cooks. She does all the cooking wherever we go. She's like the mom on duty, and the children, wherever we decide the camp spot is that year, and she does all the cooking. They camp out, they tent out. And so that's been really awesome. And then we've been doing Lake George. We've had a sponsor that's been sponsoring 50-something children in Lake George for the last 5 years.
Nice.
And that's been amazing. And just a plethora of workshops and academic workshops. We host our annual financial workshop that we're getting ready for, where we've been teaching a lot of children how to engage in stocks and the financial market and real estate. And so just teaching them. But it's a lot. We do mentoring throughout the weeks at the Dole Center. And we always are encouraging community leaders to come and share whatever they have. So the sky's the limit with New Flex, because I'm always open to, and as a community continues to give us resources, I feel like you can actually do a lot with little. And
yes.
They say when you're faithful and little, God will make you ruler over much. Right. And that's what has happened with New Flex. We just continue to build. We think about how we're going to do it afterwards, but we just get it done. And so it's been really a blessing to serve the community.
I see you on Facebook at all your different events, and then I see you globetrotting in different countries trying to learn different languages, spitting a couple of hip hop bars on the Facebook Live videos. Yeah.
And what's cool is
what country was that?
That was Sweden.
Sweden. Yes.
What's cool is that when I'm traveling, a lot of times I'm actually going to see a New Flex kid that has gone somewhere. And one of our girls, she's in Sweden. She was studying music. She played ball. She went to Great Grace. She was a young child when I met her. I actually knew her family before I knew they had a daughter, and we came full circle. And from very young, I was coaching her, and she went to play ball. Wherever the parents went, they wanted me to come. And so when she ended up in Sweden, they just randomly called me literally a week, I think, before I found a ticket. And like, Coach Felix, we're going to Sweden. We would love for you to come and surprise her. And I hadn't seen her in about a year. I didn't even know she was there studying opera. Wow. And so I literally, she was in tears when she saw me walk into the restaurant. And then I have a young guy who's at LSU now. We just have a really, really, our children are just coming full circle and succeeding. So that's really, really cool also.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
Oh, I was going to say that amongst other guests who joined us online is Cynthia Turnquest Jones. And
she's one of my favorite females.
Yes,
hey,
yes.
Cynthia Turnquest.
You didn't have your screen up. So.
Yeah, so and because I have Damon on the screen that I normally look at Facebook, so if y'all see anything, y'all can go ahead and read it. Or
I actually started sharing you guys.
I don't actually have the Facebook screen up right now.
Well, I wanted to give a shout to my man Keith Nixon who joined online. Me and Keith go way back.
Nixon from Parker.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah, I can't do the full history, but that's my dude, one of the homies from Mount Vernon. Good to see you online.
I see Cookie Alexander Campbell. She said awesome. Shanice in the green room.
She's not here.
Oh, okay. Well, she's tuned in because she's leaving a lot of comments. She Lee Carolyn Brown. Tri-State Jericho is the DJ again this year.
Yes, he is.
Okay, he DJ. I know he DJ'd last year. Shout out to congressional candidate Asha Castleberry Hernandez, D. Wilson, Dwayne Bright. Any other names y'all see, let me know.
Donna Nolan says hello.
I'm sharing live.
Jeff
also,
Red.
So.
I'm sure you acknowledge Jeff.
Jeff, he actually was on. He was one of our
he was on
performers in Honorary last year.
Yes.
Did he ever pick up his award? Can you please ask him while we're live?
I don't know, Jeff. Did you ever pick up your award? I don't know.
Yeah, because his wife was supposed to, and I'm sharing you guys. I'm sharing. I think. Live.
And Damon introduced me when I came up. Damon was
and this year actually Billy Mitchell is introducing Mr. Brown, so he'll be there.
Oh, okay.
And Sean Patterson is introducing.
Wait, Billy Mitchell from the Boys Club. Billy
from
Mitchell?
Apollo.
From the Apollo. Okay.
He's introducing Mr. Brown, and then we have Sean Patterson introducing Miss Thomas. So. Yeah, we got some cool people coming in. And we have Detective Anthony, huh?
I had to say, I wanted to give a special shout out to Melissa. Me and Melissa go back.
Yeah, she's an awesome person. We have and Anthony Mitchell will be there introducing Shanice Coleman. So
and he introduced his cousin Jeff Red last year.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's what's up.
You co-hosting AJ?
I was asked to, but Kenneth Chamberlain's father's movie screening is the same night. For some reason, I thought
Thursday night, right?
Right. I thought that her event was on Friday, but when Brenda actually reminded me that it was Thursday, how was I going to be at both places? And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? And I'm like, yeah. So I'll be watching the screening of The Killing of Kenneth Chamberlain that night, and that is the only reason I will not be there. I do want to shout. We mentioned Brenda a few times, so I told y'all I was going to keep y'all up to date on my little health journey. So I usually wear a 3X. This is a 2X T-shirt that I'm wearing first off. Brenda made me some celery juice. Not the most tasty thing, but her and Damien swear that I will basically I will acquire the taste. But I did drink it, and then Brenda dropped off some cucumber juice that I'm drinking right now that she dropped off on the way to the show. So I just want to shout her out. She's my accountability partner. Make sure that I'm eating. She picks up some fruits and stuff from the Dole Center.
What that looked like? Oh,
yeah,
it's very green.
Yeah, very green. All cucumber. She said it's straight cucumber. She said this is straight cucumber. And the celery was straight celery. This tastes a little bit better than the celery though. But I did drink the whole thing, and I am drinking this now. And so yeah, I've lost about 10, 12 pounds so far. Excellent. And I'm doing good on the smoking. So I've had one or here and one there, but for the most part, I have not been smoking since my birthday. And,
very good.
And that's with the journey. I told you I'm going to continue to take you on this journey with me, and I'm going to share. So as I do better, I'm very happy that I'm in this 2X T-shirt though. Like I'm a 3X dude, like for real. I'm a 3X dude, and like I'm wearing it. I got some room in it. It's not baggy on me like the 3X, but I mean it ain't hugging on me like So that's a big deal. Like because I could not wear this suit last month. So this shirt last month. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there real quick and shout Brenda and this. Juice, she's staying on me to make sure that I drink some healthy stuff, and I've been good on the Pepsi. Very little. I've treated myself one every now and then, but I used to drink a whole lot every day. I'm not drinking Pepsi right now, so that's where I am on my journey, and I'm using that little QB thing, that little stepper thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not. I just started using that again. So I'm in.
How'd that work?
It was good. I do it like 30 minutes, and then you necessarily you do walking. I was walking the other night. I went to and she was like, "Yo, it's kind of cold out there." But I try to get a little bit of walking in every day too. So that's where I am right now, and that's enough about me.
That's really awesome.
But I just like to showcase people in the community that are really doing it. There's people that are more concerned with purpose than position, where most people are they care more about the position than the purpose. Mm-hmm. Nesta is one of those that cares more about the purpose than the position. Mm. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, and we have to uplift those in the community like that, and we will always, Black Westchester will always support everything that you do as much as we can.
Nice.
So
appreciate it. Thank you.
I just want to keep you. I just wanted to give you a chance. One more time, date, the location, where you can get tickets or make donations or any of that. Just put all that out there.
Again, it's February 27th. It's a Thursday night, so that we have no excuses about the weekend. It's the events are available on Eventbrite. It's available on. You can visit newflex.org and click on any of our links to make payments. You can stop by the office at the Dole Center. You can go to QuickPay. You can go to PayPal. Any one of these. We would love you to send ads, particularly to any of our honorees or to the children. Just messages to the children. If you would like to go and you can't afford to, we keep you on a waiting list and let you know as seats become available for those who sponsor. And again, just send a message out if you can't go at all because of your time. That we have. You can take out a business card, a small ad, a full page ad, or other. But there's many ways to participate. And if you cannot do any of the above, volunteer. We always would love for you to volunteer. Give your time, your service. That is the best that you can give. We would love to encourage everyone to do so in whatever way you can.
I'm reaching out to those who can. Definitely sponsor. Definitely buy. Whether you can go or not, buy a couple of tickets so some of these parents can go. Mm-hmm. Definitely do that. And this is definitely. I mean, everybody's always asking you for your money, but this is definitely one of the organizations that I would definitely put my money into. That's definitely worthwhile. So. Everybody who can come out and support in whatever way you can support.
Thank you. And I also want to just throw out the, we have our annual pageant that's coming up soon. I want to actually make a pitch now. I just thought of it because, every year we do the Role Model Runway pageant, and we're always reaching out to women in the community and men to be role models for each of the children. We align them with a role model that's going to help them through their campaign and their platform. And our children take on a platform from world hunger to education to learning how to read, to achieve any of the many things that are concerned. This year, we're doing a direct theme. I thought you would be interested in it because we're doing self-destruction, the throwback self-destruction video. We're going to be focusing on that as our theme and the different topics that the video is appealing to.
I will be involved any way you need me to be involved.
I think you'd be interested because it's old school. But so each of the topics, and our girls will need people to help them move those along. It's a big platform for fundraising, but it's an amazing opportunity to be a mentor to a girl to help them get through the few months of competition. And at the end of the day, the show is also an amazing event to come to. So again, that's our Role Model Runway, Miss Newflex 2020. We're reaching out to all different women who just want to sponsor a princess and help her move her platform along. You are welcome to visit our website, newflex.org, also for that.
Okay. Anything else I didn't ask you that you want to big up? Anything else that you got going on? Did you want to let the people know anything?
That's it. Well, summer camp registration is open. Any parent who needs a program for their child, we take everyone. So, we definitely have fees. If you cannot afford, we will take your child. We will work with you. We have summer programs. We have year-round after-school programs. We have, again, the camping trips, the leadership retreats. We welcome all parents. No child should be at home during the summer. We're at Parker Elementary School throughout the year. Get your child over there. We have lunch and breakfast in the mornings. Please send your children out. We do not want children at home on the streets when there are so many programs going on between the city of Mount Vernon and our various programs there. Please get your children involved.
All right. Once again, want to give you a round of applause. Want to thank you for all that you do. And like I said, I will not be there this year because of the Kenneth Chamberlain thing, but I support you in every way that I can.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, good luck.
Now, I know you don't get too political. There were conversations we were having before. If you wanted to chime in on any of those, you can feel free.
I'll just keep listening. I heard.
Okay. I just wanted to, I didn't want you to feel left out. If you.
No, I heard Damon getting it in.
Yeah. No, we got it in, and we about to get it in some more. So yeah. Because one of the other editorials I did this week was it was inspired by the former city council meeting we had, the city council slash budget meeting we had, and I was disappointed. Like I go through the list. What ended up happening is there was like a little disagreement with our controller and our mayor. And right afterward, people, came from their neutral corners and started, taking sides. And it was like, this one got to go and the controller got to go. We've been on this path for a minute. And I go through our history, Mayor Davis, first we had, Ronald Blackwood. He was there for 3 terms. And we had Mayor Davis there for 3 terms. And after that, it's been one and done. You know what I'm saying?
I saw your article. It was amazing.
Yeah, they got rid of they told Ernie Davis he got to go, and then they brought Clinton, and then Clinton, got rid of Arts on Third and stuff like that. Oh, he got to go, and then we got Ernie Davis back, and then he got indicted for tax evasion. Then he had to go. And then we got Richard Thomas and everything that came about there. Then he had to go. Andre Wallace was there for like 2-3 months. He had to go. You know what I'm saying? It's just like we put these politicians in power, and then we bail on them, or we don't ever give them the support that need. And the question I asked in the article was, we have a problem in Mount Vernon, but is it the politicians or is it the people?
I saw that. I guess I do have the comment. I read that. It was an amazing article, actually, and and it let me wonder. And what I will say is, even though I'm not, so political, I've always taken the position that whoever is put in power, it's kind of like I've been watching. If you ever watch Game of Thrones, I've been watching this show called like White Princess, and it's kind of like a battle for the throne. And you think about old school common law, traditional common law, whoever was put in power was considered God appointed. Mm-hmm. And and people would dare to speak against the leaders that were given, that were selected for the land. And and it's almost as if I wish that we would be a little bit more careful with how we attacked. And again, we are the people, so the politics is the people. We have a right to speak, but even when you speak out against your leaders, I think it should be done more in forums where we're collective, we come together and we figure out if we can present it to the leader first, if they will accept it, because it is definitely an attack, and it does not make the community look good. So if there is a way to find that balance, because from the outside, people start to make opinions about your community and your assistance, particularly when it's a community full of minorities and black people. It doesn't speak the best of us. And so if there was a way we can let our leaders know that we're not happy with a decision that they're making, but still not put them on display, it would behoove us to do so, because it does a lot of harm to us. And that's why this has created this trend. Right. Where everyone feels like, well, if I just speak out against them, then
then he'll go.
Right. Then he'll go.
Right.
And
there's 2 things involved. There is a point of holding people's feet to the fire, and as a resident and a voter, you do have the right to do that. But what one of the things I was touching upon, first off, as voters, we fail. We vote for who we vote for and then go to sleep for 4 years and expect that person to be the Messiah, the Savior, and fix everything that's wrong. No one person can do that. No one group of people can do that without the support of the people. And when you put your elected official in there, they need the support of the people. Like, I know a lot of people think, Sean Patterson Howard has that superwoman, persona, whatever thing, but even with all of that, first black woman, all that, she is not going to be able to move the city forward and change it by herself without the support of the people. You have to be engaged. And that was one of the things that I brought about in the article, and I just shared it so everybody can read it for themselves, though. But we have a role to play, and it's just that, and I think I was a little frustrated after what I saw at the meeting and then everything I saw on Facebook afterwards. So I addressed it in the editorial, and again, I just shared it.
I heard about it, and I didn't even want to. I actually did not want to see it. I asked someone, I was like, was it recorded live? I wasn't able to make the budget meeting hearing, but I heard about it, and I just, my heart started to break already, because I do remember when Richard Thomas entered into mayor, and there was just a lot of things that were coming back to me about the person, and I didn't know him because I'm not born and bred Mount Vernon, so I didn't know him like a lot of people have a story to tell about when they hung out with him. And but my heart just, and again, maybe because I'm a person that leads with my heart just became protective. I'm like, isn't this our mayor? And I remember going to his inauguration, and all I remember was what I saw on the stage. I saw this man with energy and excitement about what he wanted to do, and he was a young man who was eager to be innovative, and that's what I saw. And I don't know if I was wrong to see, but that's what I saw.
Well, I worked on the campaign too. We worked on that campaign. The Richard Thomas, I came back in 2014 from Atlanta. The Richard Thomas that I saw was not what everybody else saw. He did a lot to help support the beginning of Black Westchester. He introduced us. He got me on with Bob Marone, which I ended up on WVOX and all of these things. This is the cat that I met. You know what I'm saying? That was very supportive. Took me to the African American of Westchester, and you know what I'm saying? All these different events, and introduced me, and gave me information and stuff. Now, he had an agenda with that, so he was building me up so I would be, someone that would speak favorable of him. That I didn't know that part, but still I didn't know the part, like you said, those who had grew up with him and those had knew him when he was a kid, and they had all these stories. I didn't know none of that, So I was sad that, and it's partially our fault as far as this is concerned too. We don't support our elected officials or our candidates financially. So they get money from big donors.
That's an interesting point.
You know what I'm saying? They get money from these big donors, and that's one of that's one of the things with Richard Thomas. He had one particular. We've exhaustively spoken about that, so you know what we're talking about. He had one very big campaign donor who now you're beholden to because he gave so much money. But we as people, we don't support other groups of people. Every other group of people have PACs, and they support their candidates. They financially support. So now you have a little more to say, and you can come to the table and make that phone call too. We need you to do these things. You're kind of beholden to those who give you these big dollars. You know what I'm saying?
That makes a lot of sense.
And I think we need campaign finance reform across the board, locally, nationally, statewide, and countywide. So I know Bob got something to say. You had that look like I got something to say. Like,
well, I mean, yeah, I will say, I think one of the principal problems with the way that Mount Vernon politics has played itself out in the past several years is that many of the residents do not have a principled critique that they offer up of their political leaders. In other words, we don't have a standard by which we measure the conduct of political leaders while they're in office, nor do we have generally a firm grasp of the kind of laws that they should be bound by, and thus when they're actually in violation of their ethical obligations to the members of the community. And then thirdly, people really don't have a policy vision. The ordinary resident does not have a clear vision of what they think the politicians, our elected officials, should do, except that it seems like
we don't teach civics no more either.
You know, and it's a problem because so in absence of principles and a clear understanding of the actual political process, people easily descend into, you know, personal ad hominem attacks that, you know, it's just never ending. I mean, and you got a lot of ill-informed people, I have to say. Much of the commentary that I have read this year by people who purport to be well-informed is so misguided that it really is, I think it's shameful, actually.
And you make sense, Bob, because they don't come out to get the information on their own. They're not in part of it. They're not involved, but then they want to speak out. Right. And you're absolutely correct.
And when you speak out, the one thing we try our best to do, is me specifically, you can attack the issue without attacking the person.
Right.
We have a lot of personal attacks of the person, and there's nothing productive about that. Even if they're wrong, even if you didn't agree with all that stuff with Richard Thomas, there was a lot of attacks on Richard Thomas, not just the issue. There are a lot of attacks on all of our elected officials. They're attacking the person, not the issue. And one of the other things you said, Nesta, most of the elected officials, from Ernie to Reggie Lafayette to all of the one thing they can tell you is, when I finally spoke on it, I had conversations with them first. I talked to them. I felt like I was basically wasting my time at some point and the message wasn't getting through, and then I publicly spoke on it. But I sat down with all of them at some point and tried to talk to them first, and we don't do enough of that, you know. So anyway, I was a little frustrated, and I wrote this editorial, and I put it in the comment section. I advise everybody to check it out in their leisure. That was one of the things we put out this week. One of the other stories we had this week, so the congressional race in the 17th congressional district is heating up. Mondaire Jones picked up 2 key endorsements from Senator Elizabeth Warren and U.S. Representative Ayanna Presley. No, that's a different person. That's a different. I don't know.
Okay.
Asha Castleberry, who was listening, I don't know if she's still listening, she wrote a little editorial. Actually, it started out as a tweet. She criticized Senator Warren, calling Senator Warren a hypocrite because she felt that Senator Warren was pandering to the women vote, especially the black women vote, and then she went and endorsed the male candidate over several qualified female candidates that were running in the race. So that went back to a lot of back and forth, and we covered a lot of that, and you can see that on Black Westchester as well this week.
I do want to say something. While I think it's legitimate for candidates in a race to offer up criticism both of their competitors on policy grounds, and also maybe even the behavior of outside well-known politicians who can play a critical role in the outcome of the race. You know, I want to urge everyone, and I've happened to read the remarks of, say again, Asha's remarks. And, you know, I'm going to be honest. They did not have the statesman-like tone that one really looks for in
I
a
agree.
leader.
Yep.
You know, and that can be self-defeating, even though Asha may have been very deeply disappointed that you would have an outside force that really has very little to do with Westchester politics intervene in a way that could be damaging, hurtful to her candidacy. I think that there is a way to say it, especially when you're in the spotlight. There have been times that I have fallen short of my own high standards You know, AJ, you've seen me when I've been involved in a lot of local
Yeah,
politics.
you've made the news a few times. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you know, I mean, I was like, oh God, was that me? Yeah, you know, I was found it somewhat embarrassing. So I want to confess that I'm not always able to meet my own high standards. But I think that one of the things that the public is looking for in their candidates is a certain kind of maturity that allows them to offer up a tempered remarks, and not descend into something that becomes just one kind of ad hominem attack, a personal attack with all others. And so, going forward, I hope that that's taken into consideration.
Yeah. So, she. I guess there have been some support, but then there's been some negative reaction to her comments about the senator.
And I have to say, I was not fortunate enough to be on set when Asha appeared on the program, because my understanding is she did appear on the program.
Yeah, she was here, and then Mondir appeared a week or two later. Yes.
And I happened to run into Priscilla in the hospital, and Priscilla and I had a wonderful conversation, and I was absolutely thrilled by the description that she gave me of Asha's qualifications. Not only is she a former service member.
Well, she's a national security expert, war veteran, and educator.
Right. I mean, she's a professor.
Yes.
I know she's at the very least adjuncting somewhere. So it seems to me like she has the intellectual depth that we really should be looking for in new leadership, especially in the area of foreign policy, where so often people are lacking, especially if one is going to replace Senator
Nita Lowey. This is Nita Lowey.
Oh, this is Nita Lowey's.
The 17th, Nita Lowey is retiring. She is not. She is not rerunning.
Right.
There's like 10 or 12 people running for the seat.
What I don't know what committees Congresswoman Lowey serves on.
I don't know either, but we did talk a lot about foreign policy and national security. If you go back and watch that interview, I'll actually share it in the link. She did speak well on all those issues, and she was a very good interviewer.
Right.
Actually, both candidates were. But you can see her experience, though, where her experience.
I mean, I really look forward to being in a forum where she has an opportunity to further flesh out her ideas.
Yeah, when it gets down, when they get to actually making a ballot, we've had 2 of the candidates on, and 2 more of the candidates are scheduling time from that race. When it scales down to more or less, a handful. I probably invite them to a forum like we did the Ruth Hassel Thompson seat, and like we did with Ken Jenkins' seat, in the county legislature. We'll probably have like a forum like that, and I'm looking forward to that. Or we'll do something bigger somewhere. I want to do a couple of those this year that we sponsor and host. On air or in the community somewhere, so
right,
yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm just sharing and for those who have missed her interview, I just shared it in the comment section, so you can check it. And to be fair, I'm going to share my dear's interview as well. One of the other things that we dealt with this week. Oh, I wanted to uplift real quick. So. New York State Senate Majority Leader Andrew Stewart Cousins invites all the constituents to voice their opinions at a special budget forum Tuesday, February 18th at the Westchester County Center's Little Theater from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's this Tuesday coming up. In addition to Senator Andrew Stewart Cousins, the forum is hosted along with the Westchester Senate delegation, Senator Shelley B. Meyer, Senator Pete Harkin, Senator David Carlucci, Senator Jamal T. Bailey, and Senator Alexandria Biaggi. So if you want to get a chance to voice your opinion or have your say as far as the state budget is concerned, this is the forum for you. they're having an open forum where you can ask questions and give your opinions on the budget before it passes for the state. And it's very important. We usually don't. I'm sure they have these kind of things, but we usually don't. Our community's not usually involved and usually doesn't get invited. So, once I saw that they were doing it, I wanted to make sure I shared it in our audience so as many of our people who might be interested in something like that take advantage of hearing what's going on the state level as far as the budget is concerned, like you do with your city and like you do with your county. It's important that we don't miss these opportunities as well.
And where did you say? What time and where?
It is this Tuesday, February 18th, at Westchester County Center in the Little Theater.
Okay.
From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So
Okay.
I'm not sure if I will be there in person. I would like to be. If so, I'll try to do some videos and stuff like that. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it because
you got class.
Yeah,
Right?
I've got class, and my voice seems to be healing.
Yeah. Oh, so you can't,
As we
you can't,
speak.
Yeah, you can't be on here talking and take off during the week and say, "Well, I can't come to work because I lost my voice." But we saw you on the radio Sunday. Yeah. I don't think that would go over too big. So
No.
Yeah. So I just wanted to highlight that as well. Lorraine, we talked about everywhere else. What's going on in Yonkers? You have any updates in Yonkers you can share with us? Or?
Oh, no. You know what? A big shout out, Jeffrey Meyer.
Okay.
Jeffrey Meyer is very ill.
Oh, is he?
He's got pneumonia. He's in ICU. He's completely septic.
For those who don't know, share with the community who Jeffrey
Jeffrey Meyer is the guy who basically, he's from Ridgeway Alliance Church in White Plains, former cop, Eastchester cop, who's now a deacon at the church, and he basically goes all over Mount Vernon, Yonkers, and delivers the food, those big trucks that you see that they bring all the fruits and vegetables and all the meats, and that's Jeffrey Meyer.
Right.
And he's not doing too well right now, and we're very, very concerned about him.
Okay, so and you'll keep us updated on his condition. Anything that needs to be known during the week, you let me know, and I'll put it up on the website. So we extend our prayers to him and his family, and I wish him a speedy recovery. Because he's very active in the community.
Yeah, both
very,
communities,
very active.
all over Westchester.
Right,
really.
right, absolutely. Cookie Alexander Campbell said Jeff is a good friend of mine. We pray for him.
Good.
Yeah. So
good.
All my prayer warriors, we asking y'all to pray for Jeffrey Myers. So anything else going on in Yonkers? I know I got a couple of calls, but stuff that I haven't substantiated yet, so I can't talk about them just yet.
Well,
Stories in the making,
I can't answer you if you're not going to tell me.
No, I'm saying you can tell anything. You can tell us about what's going on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No. Yeah, I got a few calls. I got to look into a few things.
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to even look into them. I had calls from Mount Vernon and from Yonkers and a couple other. I think my phone was blowing up. So I want to look into some of those stories before I speak on any of them, because most of the time, some of them have no truth to them, and there's no truth, and it's just somebody's political agenda where they're trying to get us to take out their opponent or somebody they don't like, and we find that a lot. Or there is some truth to it, but you've exaggerated the facts a little bit, and it's not really as big of a thing as you try to make it seem. So we try to, look into some of those things before we speak on them, because some of them are damaging to people's careers. Like me and Bob just had that conversation. Some are very damaging to people's career. The positions that people have if this stuff is not true. Yeah. So, but if it is true, y'all know who you are. You will hear from me. Go ahead.
And I don't know what you're talking about, so I can't comment on it at all. Period. Even if it has to do with Yonkers.
No. So, can you give us any updates? Anything else good, bad, and different?
I can give a little bit of the community news.
Okay. Go ahead.
Just to remind parents that this week is spring break for a lot of our children. So there are a lot of programs going on. A lot of the city halls are having programs. Mount Vernon particularly has programs every day for parents to get their children involved in like skating and soccer programs. There are a lot going on for this spring break week. So make sure parents get involved if you're not traveling in most of the towns.
Okay.
I wanna just give a shout out to my man DB Dwayne Brown, who
I just saw him
who joined us not too long ago, and one of the things that is especially noteworthy and exciting about Brother Brown is he recently launched a full-scale catering hall in Mount Vernon.
Event planning.
Dee has been at it for quite some time.
I saw him, and I told him I got to stop by. He told me to stop by. I have not been there.
Yeah, so I know, I've seen some of his posts on Facebook, and it seems like he's getting, some patronage from people in Mount Vernon and beyond, and it looks like he's had a lot of great events. And I also think, Dee, you're gonna tell me if I'm not mistaken. I thought I saw him post something about inviting people to come down and have some professional photographs taken as well.
Oh, he is a photographer. And
so
he has.
An example.
He does that in the event planning, but he got his team that do photography and videography and stuff like that.
Just as Nestor's an example of a successful social entrepreneur in the city of Mount Vernon, Dee is an example of an up and coming.
He's done a lot for business in Mount Vernon as the head of the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
Like, I really got involved in a lot of chamber events because of him. Mm-hmm. And I got to learn more about the chamber because, I learned about these, people think I know everything. I learned more about these things as I cover these stories. Then I learned more and more. And I got to learn a lot more about the chamber and the things that they do and the importance of the chamber. Between Mount Vernon with him and Bob Marone used to be the head of the chamber in New Rochelle.
Oh, okay.
So between the two of them, I got to learn a lot about what the chamber was and how it functions and how important it is. So I know he did great work there. He's eventually stepped down and let someone else take over, and he's doing other things now. So.
And can I just give a shout out to Tasha Diaz? Today's her birthday, Councilwoman.
Happy
birthday!
Happy
birthday, girl!
Happy birthday! I don't have no happy birthday music. I'm
you
sorry.
You know what? I would do a Stevie Wonder for you, but you know what I mean. My throat is still trying to have my best.
And AJ, as you know, I changed my registration.
That was the news for the week. Lorraine Lopez has left the Republican Party.
Yes, that was news, wasn't it?
And officially changed her party affiliation to Democrat. And we know that was hard.
That was not easy, and I'm still not happy about it. I'm really not. I have a
Trump.
Well, I have a lot. I still have a lot of Republican principles in me. I still believe in the old Republican Party. Mm-hmm. I believe in the old Republican values. You can call me a Reagan Republican. You can call me a McCain Republican. You can call me a Mitt Romney now Republican. But
don't call you a Trump Republican.
Never a Trump Republican. But not even a Republican anymore. I just could not. And sit there and watch the Senate and watch the POTUS and watch the way they treat the Latinos, the way they speak about us, the way, not only that, screw them, fuck them. They don't even know Yonkers exists, to be honest. So it's not even that. The Westchester Republican Party treats us like shit. They always have. They will continue to do so. And it's not a party that I'm proud to be in anymore. And you can call me a conservative Democrat right now, but I will never be a liberal. I will never be a liberal. Liberal. I will never be, and I'm not going to be left wing or radical or anything like that. That's just not who I am. I'm quite conservative when it comes to my political beliefs, and I'm glad I did it. I don't regret it, but I'm angry that I had to. I'm angry about that. Yeah. And I'll just continue to do what I do, and I'll do it with the Democratic Party. And, I had left for a while, and I came back, and the Yonkers Democratic Party has opened me with, as many times as I curse out and tell you that I think he sucks, the chairman, they welcome me with open arms.
I saw one person, they said, now we just need you to sign up with the Latino Dems or
the Westchester Hispanic.
Yeah. They said we need you. They opening with open arms. They welcoming you.
I wanted to say that when we move beyond Lorraine in particular, and think about the other number of Latinos across the United States who harbor similar reservations about the direction that the Republican Party is moving in, it really does not augur well for the party's future. As everyone is well aware, Latinos comprise one of the largest, fastest growing segments of the American populace.
Yeah.
And if Republicans hope to remain competitive, they're going to have to find a way to appeal to Latinos who, right now, because they're making inroads into the party system in large numbers as their numbers here in the population as a whole increase, they may well find that there is no home for them within the Republican Party. And I have to say, as a sociologist who sometimes, has to take up questions of, the Latino community, I wrote my dissertation about Latino high school dropouts. And one of the things that I learned from scholars is that Latinos have very conservative value system that distinguishes them, that makes the Republican Party in many respects a more natural home for them, especially with the emphasis on the sanctity of the family. Yeah. And interestingly, Lorraine's party changeover this past week was also mirrored by the changeover of the party affiliation of a Latino down in Florida, who was actually the chairwoman of the Republican Party. And she just announced that she was switching over her party affiliation. And that really does, it should, be a warning sign to Republicans about the direction they're taking the nation.
There's no inclusion. There's no inclusion with us. If anything, it's less and less, and more treating us and talking to us like we're less than. Instead of empowering us, they just keep trying to break us down. That's unacceptable.
Kenneth Chamberlain sent me, I'm changing the subject just briefly real quick. He sent me a video earlier. It's a promotion for News 12 for their show, something about politics. It shows clips of Trump, the Senate, and Richard Thomas yelling at Andre Wallace.
Sound very similar.
I was like, wow, that's a shame. It's only 15 seconds long, but he was trying to get me to see this earlier. It shows while you were talking. I got one thing playing. Hold on. While y'all were talking, I actually put it on. This is what's playing. Yeah. Okay. Where's the video back again? This one. Nope. Hold on. Oh, I got the screen still on. I'm sorry. Let me get the volume on that. I was like, damn, that's a hell of a comparison.
The stakes higher, the controversy greater. Politics in 2020 is must-watch TV. Don't miss News 12's Power and Politics.
Oh, my goodness.
Sundays at 11:30 a.m. Only on News 12.
I just saw that and I was just like, that's News 12. That's their commercial for their program that they have on their new program. And then you got Trump and you got the Senate and then you got Richard Thomas yelling at Andre Wallace. I was like, whoa. I just had to show like that's a shame that
out of all the countries and states and
it's News 12 Westchester, but there's a lot of other things that went on. Yeah, there's a lot of things. But that's the one thing you see. The one thing about Mount Vernon, you see Richard Thomas yelling at Andre Wallace after showing Trump. Like, just that whole
Terrible.
Yeah. So
I was going to say that the Republican chairwoman or ex-Republican chairwoman that I was referring to is Cindy Guerra, and interestingly, she's the former chairwoman of the Broward County Republican Party, and everyone should recall from headlines from presidential races over the past several cycles that Broward County is one of the most populous.
And
it's
Florida?
That's where they
that's
had
where they had
chads.
all the hanging chads, and then all the other stuff that went on in the 80s in the hip hop era. That whole
is that where Luke and them
okay. When they were talking about the things that they've been through, but the stuff that they went through that created what Luke ended up being because of that was his way of dealing with the corruption and the police brutality and all that, the way he dealt with it. But that was, we learned a lot about that county back then. So that county has always been the county.
So, Lorraine, I'm curious because this gives me an opportunity to pose a question to you. I saw that Ms. Guerra is decided to change her party affiliation, partly because of her disappointment with the ideological direction of the Republican Party under Donald Trump. But she also indicated that she found Pete Buttigieg an attractive, appealing candidate at the presidential level. And I'm curious to know, as a Latino who is of more conservative leaning, now that you've joined the Democratic Party, you know, and I know, like everyone else, you've got to be thinking about the national race. Do you, you know, what candidates are now running at the presidential level you think sort of embody, you know, your interests, your views?
You know, I've thought about that too, and I realized that I'm going to have to vote in the presidential primary, and I'm not there yet. I have not. I have now. You know, I'm watching CNN more than I used to watching town halls and stuff like that, so that I can get a better grasp at which candidate that I think will better suit not only the country, but, you know, close to home, the Latinos. And I'm so far he seems to be the candidate that I like the most. And unfortunately, he doesn't. Buttigieg.
Mayor Pete.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot.
Okay.
I like him a lot. I'm not impressed with Warren at all. She does nothing for me. Bloomberg, stop and frisk, that killed it right there.
What do you think about him? I wanted to hear what people thought about his initiative.
We did a video on him yesterday, Damon and I. It's like it seems that there is. He's winning. He has a perception. Well, he's putting out these commercials.
He's got
First
money.
off,
about us.
He's putting out these commercials with a lot of us in it, and to the point where people were putting on their thing. Well, Obama. Why is Obama endorsing him and not Biden?
But he's not.
Obama hasn't endorsed him. He put commercials out that had him and Obama in them.
No, but there was a senator today. There was a senator today that endorsed Bloomberg, and he said that commercial would not be out there if Obama did not okay it. It's not an endorsement, but Obama had to okay for that.
At the end of every commercial, Bloomberg chimes in that this is being endorsed by.
Right. But he says, but what you hear is, Mike Bloomberg approves of this message. You don't hear Obama. Obama did agree and work with him on certain things when he was mayor and Obama was president. And those are the clips they're showing and the things that Obama said about him at that time. And it's a great marketing tool. Right. I mean, like I said, when I market the show, I show clips of what Andrea Stewart-Cousins says about the show. And, you know, all these different people, what they said. You know, and I'm going to continue to show them 5 years from now. You know what I'm saying? It's always a good marketing. But, you know, he's using that. But he's a lot of people. Now,
but for those that are new voters that want to, you know, get involved with the process and are really getting into it, that the commercial it's like a lie. It
leads. It's meant to lead, and it leads. Like today, the latest commercial was
with the black woman, the black construction company.
She said he allowed women business to come out, and now thanks to him, she has 151 employers. Right. Black women, you know, thanks to my
that's the new commercial. I saw that today too.
I was like, okay, I can't help but notice.
So, shout out to Brother Arthur, who's in Albany at the.
Black Caucus.
The Black Latino Caucus.
We didn't go this year, and I just want to specifically say I tried to reach out because usually we used to there was a bus provided from the city of Mount Vernon. They would take a group of children, and they haven't done it for the last 2 years. I tried to take a van this Saturday, but it would be nice because it was amazing. They have a teen summit in Albany. That's amazing, and we would like our children to be there.
You heard what Tish Dame is doing, right, with that whole political caucus this weekend?
What?
She's investigating. She sent out subpoenas. She wants all the financials because
they
set aside the legislators, the whole black and the political black and Latino political caucus that's doing the event this weekend. Because for years they've been legislators have been setting aside $500,000 for the budget for the weekend. She says it's nothing but a weekend of party.
And that is not $500,000.
They charge $500 per person to attend, so that's on top of the $500,000. And when they did the paperwork to secure this money, they said the money was going to go to scholarships for children. Since 2013, not one child had received a scholarship from them. So now she's investigating them.
I mean, I'm going to say that, you know what, corruption is rampant throughout the two-party system here in the United States.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump's misuse of funds for his nonprofit is, I think, only an example of a larger pattern that we see, whereby politicians use the cover of political organizing to essentially misdirect funds for purposes that they are not legally entitled to do. And I am a very strong proponent of the strict enforcement of these kind of rules. If, you know, the law and order folks advocated a broken windows policy in order to improve the quality of life and reduce the level of crime that we see on the streets by giving people tickets and locking people up for smoking weed and, you know, urinating on the streets. And I think we need to adopt a similar kind of get tough on political corruption approach, because it's really gotten out of hand at this point. And unfortunately, I think that most, you know, my general perception is that too many of our elected officials have no qualms whatsoever in skimming, you know, off the till, so to speak. And so I applaud her. I think that people need to follow the rules.
I think this was a good move, yeah.
They need to do their paperwork. You need to follow the procedures. And one of the procedures that is required is that you are supposed to, even Nestor and Newflex, have very strict. Nestor, you are a nonprofit?
Yes.
Yeah, they have very strict rules that they have to follow with respect to how that money is expended.
And accountability.
And every year they have to file their tax returns, and they're not allowed. There's a very limited latitude to use those funds for purposes other than what has been approved through their 501c3 certification. And too many of our politicians are not paying attention, and then that's one reason why we got a problem in the United States of America.
You know, when she asked for paperwork, they sent her paperwork and they revised the paperwork and they let out the part about the scholarships. It's no longer in there, which is a shame because they use scholarship as a way to get this money.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just kick the kids out the back door, and now it's a big party. It's a big party scene over there on the weekends.
I can definitely tell you from having gone, we've gone the last few years that yeah, it's definitely underrepresented. Even, you know, you walk through the hall with the corridor. When you just said that number to me, I was very shocked because that is not a $500,000 event. I'm always honored to be there because of the Youth Summit.
Yeah.
But even what's given is not a $500,000 quality event.
Do they still have the Youth Summit, or they just didn't have the
actually,
bus?
We actually didn't go because they stopped paying for a bus for us to go. And so I tried to take a van this weekend.
Who was paying for the bus?
1 year, the recreation department did it. Last year, actually, Andre sponsored a bus. So Newflex was able to get on that bus.
Okay.
But we were trying to get a sponsor for the bus. I reached out. They just stopped doing it. But, you know, it's worth going. But
we need our kids to see these things.
Yeah, it's almost like going to a career fair.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they don't give out scholarships, they are still legally bound to use whatever funds that they have raised in accordance with the rules of New York State and our federal nonprofit law, and, you know, or I'm sorry, more generally our federal election finance laws. And, you know, apparently, you know, the Attorney General seems to believe that she has some sort of at least probative evidence, which would suggest that there is something untoward going on here. And you know what? That's part of the process. It's part of upholding the rule of law.
And accountability should happen regularly. Whenever there's funding or anything, it should, you know, you're accountable to, you know, the sources of your funding and your support. And sometimes that's what happens because everyone gets busy along the way. It's not done over a period of time,
Right.
and then, you know, everything falls apart. And you find that happens. You know, a lot of times you hear companies and programs merging or coming to an end. That's usually what has happened.
I mean, I saw yesterday that Damon had posted on his Facebook page a post saying that Tish James had refused to allow, I thought it was staffers.
No, 4 of her staffers go every year, and they usually get reimbursed.
Right.
She's not reimbursing them this year.
And it seems like the issue is much deeper than just disallowing reimbursement for our own staffers. From what you're telling us, Lorraine, it sounds like it may be a much more serious problem.
Yeah, and I don't think she wants. She said she's not gonna. She's not gonna let her funding or whatever her coffers to her staff because of it. She's not gonna dip her hand in it.
She doesn't want to be tied to anything.
No, she's not dipping her hand in it.
Integrity, yeah.
Right, because when you do those type of events, those politically oriented events, you know, there are certain kinds of activities that just must occur, and partying is supposed to be ancillary. It's not supposed to be like the thing you're going to do.
I mean, I've been there. I've got honored there one time, and
I don't know
they gave
anything
me a
about it,
nice little plaque and everything. Well, a big plaque, and it was nice, but it was all a party. I never sat through anything of substance, and then they have the big party.
I've not been able
the
to
big
afford
dinner
to go.
party that's like a couple $100. I mean, it's you
I
gotta
don't go
pay.
because I can't afford to go in anything
It's
else.
$500 to go per person, and that's a lot of people.
Well, I mean, I only hope that her suspicions prove untrue. But if there is some substance to it, then you know what, people need to be held to account.
Across the board, at this point, corruption is rampant across the board on every level of
top
government.
to bottom.
But like you said, if there's not regular, like even I tell people, you know, even at my smallest programs, you know, I do like a small pageant. We have throughout planning the event, I'm making sure the committee is assessing what I'm doing. I want them to know what we're bringing in, what tickets are sold. It's just you have to do that because sometimes human nature, you stray, and not even intentionally. So you have to make sure that you're holding yourself accountable, that you have a team of people who can hold you accountable. And if not, it's just, you know, things can go haywire. It's such a dangerous place to be. You know, it's just a dangerous place to be, even with the IRS and things that could come into place on a larger level. So sometimes you find people with the most integrity, sometimes something happened and they didn't even realize. You know, so you have to really do your due diligence.
And given the increased scrutiny that the president has received from the New York State Attorney General for some of the misuse of funds through his foundation, she in turn she's now under a microscope because of the president's vindictive behavior. You know, and so
he's on his retaliation tour right now.
So you know, everyone has got to be very
Donald
careful
Trump
now.
is on the retaliation tour right now.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, listen, and that's the thing, man. You listen, as they say, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, and so that means that everyone who has, offered up a criticism of the president's behavior, because it's falling short, that means your house better be in order, and you better be sure that you are scrupulously following those rules yourself.
Absolutely.
And what's crazy is often if you think about it, I think I was talking to someone yesterday. When you're running a campaign, you have various people that you're designating tasks to manage your reputation, to manage your funds in different areas, and you know you have such a large team that sometimes things are happening that you haven't even given permission to, and it comes back to haunt you. And you have to really. Yes.
Me and Bob have been part of a few campaigns. He just looked at me like.
You have to hold these people. You have to be able to make sure your team is, exercising behaviors of integrity. Otherwise, you're gonna be pulled down, and it's unfortunate. But those small little things are not worth it, you know. But
Justin Tuiolo, did you say that he changed his?
Oh yes, so David. Say his last name again.
Tubiolo, David Tubiolo. I
Yes,
said Justin. I said his father's name.
And the county legislator, he also changed his party affiliation from Republican to Democrat. He had a big press conference and everything about it. And one of the things he said was, he wanted to be able to vote in the Democratic primary for president, and vote against Trump because he just, was not, so. We posted the story again. We got a bunch of good and bad reviews. Some people was like he took all that money as the Republican. Now he's switching parties, and people.
John Rubel did the same thing as a council member in Yonkers. He just changed from the Republican to the Democratic Party too, after the election.
But some people said that this was going to happen anyway. That his father had made a deal for him to
get we knew about this like a year ago.
Yeah, I was hearing something about his father making a deal or something, and so he wouldn't have somebody campaigning against him, and then there was a possibility he was going to switch after.
There's always a deal.
Yeah, after I did remember hearing something like a year ago. Because his father's who? Whose father?
Justin Tubiolo is the head of the Republican Party, Westchester Republican Party, Yonkers Republican Party.
Yonkers Republican Party, right.
Yeah, I actually, this issue was addressed when Hezi appeared on Bob Marone's show, I think on Monday. They discussed this, and apparently Justin's father is now...
David's father.
David's father is being forced out, may well be forced out from his seat, was I think what...
Well, I know Council Member Morante is going after him.
Mm-hmm.
He said enough is enough because, Justin Tubiolo is good friends with Mike Spano. Mike Spano controls everybody. We already know that. And
Mike Spano was a Republican, though, before, right?
Yeah. And the deal was when he was a Republican, they didn't put anybody against him on the Republican side. And then the Democrats would not put anyone against Gary Pretlow. And that's how they did it for years. It was just understood. I would be in the meetings. I heard it. And it would happen. The same shit is happening today. But they're a little more blatant today.
Well, when you have a commander-in-chief who has tore down all norms, anything that is politically correct and just everything. Like, there's just no level he won't stoop to. And he co-signs white supremacist attitudes and
like no regard to policies.
Right. Like he's like, these things they say he can't do. Well, I haven't done it, but I can if I want. Like, his latest thing he said, he was like, I'm starting to think maybe I don't want everybody listening to my calls no more. Maybe I won't let them listen to my calls no more. Like after
wakes up in the morning,
like because of the Ukraine thing and all those people. That now he's thinking about maybe there should be nobody should be listening to my calls no more. That's.
See, you know what? Even though a president has to have a certain degree of latitude and discretion in discussing sensitive foreign policy matters, number one, our freedom of information laws do require public access to and disclosure of lots of the statements of public officials, right? And so there's a good possibility that, at least in some instances, the president's decision to withhold information may well run afoul of those laws. Moreover, the president, as commander-in-chief, can only exercise a foreign policy which has been, in many instances, given the blessing of the Congress through the enactment of certain laws. For example, we just saw that the Senate passed legislation that would restrict the ability of the president to undertake any kind of military action against Iran. And he's legally bound by that. Although he does have some latitude, that latitude is limited. And moreover, a lot of that power to make war, Congress is the only branch of government that can declare war.
They're trying to pass something now where, the war we've been in with Afghanistan for after 2 years they have to, maybe not pull out, but then they have to come back to the Congress and talk about why they should still be there and what, should be done. But every 2 years or something, because this has been like the endless war since 2001, 2002. This is 2020 now, 2020 now.
I mean, there's like a widespread misperception that somehow or the other the president has absolute authority to do whatever he wants in the area of foreign policy and war making. And this is just not true. And it's, you'll recall, AJ, when first article I ever wrote about former Mayor Richard Thomas was the problem of the imperial mayoralty, essentially, in Mount Vernon. And I took that phrase from a well-known, the title of a well-known book on the imperial presidency by Arthur Schlesinger Jr., in which, he's an historian. And basically he says, listen, when you look at the evolution of the presidency over the course of the 20th century, more and more power has been concentrated into the hands of the president in a way that is actually antithetical to the intention of the framers and sort of diminishes the Congress's ability to declare war. So it's a very dangerous situation that we now find ourselves in. And I think that this, is just one more instance of the president flirting with a kind of authoritarian tendencies that, should make everyone frightened. It's frightening.
Do you think that if the Democratic candidates don't mobilize a little bit more, do you think he has a chance of going back in?
Trump has a very good chance of going back in. And people say, "Oh, how can you say that?" Well, I go to all y'all people, and I can't go with the polls because the polls said up until Election Day that Hillary won this, and obviously, you see what happened.
Yeah.
There was a joke when I said, "What if Donald Trump become?" Oh, that'll never happen. Yeah.
He was shocked the next morning.
And Donald Trump is going to go down in history as the first president impeached by the House, exonerated by the Senate, and reelected.
We can't let that happen.
I want to say this.
They can't. Go ahead. Bob. Talk about.
That there is the president is much beloved. I argue with, friends all the time on Facebook who are Republican Trump supporters about, how wrong the president has been, and they are absolutely faithful to him. But moreover, and this gets us back to some of the discussion that we were having about Mike Bloomberg and other Democratic candidates, because the African-American vote is such a critical block in the Democratic Party coalition, African-Americans rightly want a candidate who both articulates our vision of a new America, a better America, and adopts policies. And what has happened in the Democratic Party is that many groups, including African Americans, are threatening to essentially, withhold their support come November if the candidate of choice is not elected. And I have to say that I think that this is the most self-defeating, self-destructive position that one could ever possibly adopt. Let me be very clear. I don't care if I have my preference, and I'm a leftist, so there's only two people who embody my ideas, and that's either Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren. I'm not into moderates. I didn't vote for President Obama because he's a moderate. But there's so much more at stake in this election. And if Donald Trump win again, the nation is in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we can survive another 4 years.
But what do you mean when you say you don't think we can survive it? Be more specific. What is going to happen?
We won't be able to go back to, if you get him out of office after this, we may be able to regain some of what we had lost as far as the policies, the procedure, doing things the way they were supposed to be done by the Constitution. If he's in another 4 years, he will continue to tear down government so much that we will never recover. As the republic as we know it will be destroyed.
Oh, he'll go on a free fall if he wins.
And I fear if he loses, I think we're on the brink of almost like a civil war, and we don't even know it. I really feel that we are on the brink. No, we are on the brink. He has he, with the help of Putin, who this is the Russian propaganda to divide us, he has polarized and divided us so much. There are so many people that, there was political correctness before. There was certain things you just couldn't say. Like, he didn't rip the Band-Aid off of that. He didn't rip this. Like, you can say whatever. You can do whatever. The president does these things. You understand what I'm saying? That no other president has ever said or done before. Like there are so many things that if had it been anybody else, that one story would have been the one story that destroyed everything. But he's had a million of them. I mean, in the campaign trail, he's talking about grabbing them by the, you know what I'm saying? Like that, Obama wouldn't have never won that race, or Clinton or any of them after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he still won even with a tape like that. And everything that happens is the worst thing that could ever happen. And it should have, and then there's another one, and then there's another one, and then there's another one. So it's like, he's like, nothing surprised. There's nothing. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah. Look, I mean, the president's rhetoric has created a climate of hatred that can be measured in the uptick of racist violence, general white supremacist sentiments that now are being expressed in many institutions across the United States of America. You look at the headlines. I just saw a report about kids now being increasingly bullied using the same racist rhetoric of the president. The FBI, from headlines that I recently read, has now declared that white nationalist groups in the United States pose a bigger threat to domestic security than so-called foreign terrorist organizations like ISIS, which is stunning in itself. Now, this is the way the president could well foment civil war. The president has proposed to deploy elite paramilitary troops within the domestic United States that are going to target sanctuary cities and look to forcibly remove undocumented immigrants here in the United States. That's number one. Now, that type of, here in the United States, we have very strict rules about the deployment of military forces in the United States. It's against the law.
Well, you tried to use them on the border at one point.
And should he have his druthers, he may well continue this really horrific kind of, concentration camps. And I think that the detention centers that have been created along the American border do meet the classic definition of concentration camps, where you single out minority groups based on their ethnicity, religion, and strip them of many of their political rights, including due process rights. This will cause serious problems because, people in the big cities, generally a liberal sentiment predominates. And I think people are morally opposed to this kind of program. And to me, it is sort of parallels the kind of tensions that were created in the 19th century in the lead up to the Civil War, when you had when you had the enactment of the Fugitive Slave Act, I think in 1857 or so, that required essentially the same thing for Northerners and Northern agencies to assist Southerners in the capture of runaway enslaved persons. And just as then, there was such a moral outcry that, in combination with other things that were going on in the country, it was one of the factors that led to the Civil War. And you will see a similar response. Should massive troops, we're only talking about 100 of these forces in the headlines that I read this weekend, but should Donald Trump be reelected and he begin to deploy these forces in all of the sanctuary cities, wherever they are, that's going to be here in Westchester, we're Sanctuary County, right? And so many other areas, it is going to bring tensions to a boil. Together with other things, you could well, and these paramilitary groups, this is going to go out here and they're going to start shooting shit up.
Yeah.
They are going to shoot shit up.
So we're coming to the close of the show. Nesta, with your organization, Would it be in Black History Month? Are y'all doing anything Black History oriented for the kids?
Yes. Well, actually, this year, one of the first times we haven't done our small programs because we're focusing on the gala. The gala does have a Black History theme to it. Usually we kind of attach each honoree to a Black History figure. We're not doing a specific program. We may have a closing ceremony, kind of like a small intimate. Our children are participating in the Black History Month challenge at the Armory on the 24th. That's next Monday.
Yeah, I got an email about that. They
we are. We do have a team in there, so we're getting ready. I was just texting all of them, trying to bail out of rehearsal this week, so they can embarrass me. They better not. They better know their facts. So that's what we're getting them on. We have 125 questions that they need to know. So we've been rehearsing twice a week. And so that's a big part of it. I also want to give a shout out to some of the sports teams in Westchester. Iona College beat actually Manhattan really badly this week. Big rival game. The women's basketball team at Iona is doing exceptionally well this season. Also, they have a minority coach for the first time in the history of the program. Coach Billy, she's doing some amazing things with the women's team there.
And you think you might be able to assist us in getting her on the show and interviewing her?
Oh yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
And a couple of other coaches. In fact, St. John's is actually hosting a huge youth clinic next Saturday. I do follow college sports, particularly women's in sports, but I can do that. Yep.
Because we want to have more sports coverage in Black Westchester, just don't have people to write it and cover the games and stuff.
Well, I made a lot of games.
We've always wanted to do that, especially high school sports. We wanted to do high school sports too. It's just been a big challenge. That's why it was a great thrill to interview Johnny Cornelius, AJ Cornelius. Yes. That was a very big deal. We enjoyed doing that, spotlighting him. But we're coming to the close of the show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you check out all the stories. Most of the stories we've mentioned, I've put the links into the comment section so you can read all of those, including Bob's problem with Mount Vernon's Imperial Mayority. All of those stories are in the comment section. You can look at them on your own and read them so you know what we were talking about. Follow us, blackwestchester.com. Follow us, the show on Twitter at PBP Radio on Twitter. I'm trying to build the Twitter page up. I keep forgetting we have a Twitter page. The show actually broadcasts on Twitter, too. You can actually watch the show live on Twitter. That's it. Yo, thank you for everybody who tuned in. Everybody who left comments, everybody who was holding us down. We might have a show next week. Lorraine, I got to talk to you off air. We might have a show. Cruz might not be able to be here one week, and it was the week that you had the Latino officers or whatever, the national. We might have to reschedule that because that day he said he won't be here. The second. Because I looked on the schedule, it was that. So the 8th, March 8th. So we will not be on the air. The station won't be open. So we got to reschedule that. But yes, thank you everybody for tuning in. Follow us on Facebook and everywhere else. This is Black Westchester presents the People Before Politics radio show. Bob, it was the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850. Okay, he wanted to correct that. so we are. He stands corrected. He stands corrected. I saw that.
Is never wrong.
I saw that look on his face and said, "Oh, there must be a comment I need to read." Yeah. So this is Black Westchester presents the People Before Politics radio show. We are on every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com, giving you the real talk for the community since 2014. Until next week, peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.